This is part 2 of me ranking all 160 video games I played in 2024. In this part, I will be discussing my top 40 video games of the 50 that I played that came out this year, and ranking them accordingly on my tier list. We'll be ranking the worst to the almost best that I played this year, and then part 3, which will come out at a later date, will be ranking my top 10 video games of 2024. All right, now before we get started, I'll just quickly go over the criteria once again. The first being I played the game for a minimum of 3 hours. The second, I completed the game 100%, did everything that you could do in the game, or did, the main mode of the game. And the third being just doing the main mode, or whatever is considered the main mode of the game, and finishing that front to back, but not doing anything else. Now let's get into the rankings itself for this tier list. Specifically, we've got our top 10 games, which we won't be going over in this video, so let's look at everything else. A tier, basically the runners-up. They just couldn't make the top 10, but these are still some of the best games that came out this year. Your B tier are just really good games that maybe have their flaws here and there, but they're still really solid. C tier, middle-of-the-road games that hit or miss. Maybe the price point for them wasn't exactly what it needed to be, but they're still good, or they might not be as good. D tier are definitely games that you should probably avoid if you can. And then the worst game of the year, a spot for one of these singular games that I will not reveal until near the end of this video. So let's start off with our D tier games. And our first D tier game is Gourdlets. This is a cute little game, life sim. You're just building stuff for these little gourlets to live, and you're designing things. I tried many times to try to get into this after I saw, oh, this looks cute. I play cute games here and there. I'm one of those guys. I'm one of those people that, enjoy a cute, cozy game. It's just, this one's just a bit on the empty side. Sure, you build everything, but it's there's not much else that you do. It's just that. There's no quests to, hey, you should build specifically this. I would have maybe liked that. It's too open. Foam Stars really tried to be Splatoon, and it did not work. It's not good. I played it for free because it came out for free on PlayStation Plus originally, and man, it's not good. It's really just not good. Crime Scene Cleaner is an alright game, but the voice acting is AI generated, so no. I didn't know that until afterwards, though. I would rather support real voice actors. Astro Duel 2 is an alright game. It's fun. It's just very repetitive to grind, and I didn't do that, so I just did all the main modes, and it was just alright. Death Note, the Death Note Among Us game that came out. It's alright. I just, multiplayer sucks for that game if you don't have friends, which I don't have friends. Didn't have enough friends to play that with. So, I would just get into lobbies, and it was a lot of, oh, they figured it out, they quit. Game would end. Or, people would just quit middle of games. Lost But Found is this really, I guess, app-style game where you're just a security guy at an airport, and you just put the lost items on a table, and you're working the Lost But Found table. You're just giving people all the items that they're missing. And you got different difficulties to do it on. It's all right. It's all right. It's just not the greatest. The Jackbox Naughty Pack. Now, I'm surprised myself that I'm putting the Jackbox Naughty Pack here, but the Naughty Pack actually kind of sucks. It's not the greatest selection of Jackbox games, and it's awkward if your group isn't comfortable with a lot of, more adult topics. Jackbox tried too hard to make we're making everything naughty, instead of just people just typing in naughty answers and making things funny. This doesn't succeed where I think they wanted it to succeed. And lastly, the last D tier game, which is going to piss off a lot of people I know, is Rivals of Aether 2. I actually refunded this game. And the big reason why is I did not like the control scheme. I spent 20 to 30 minutes messing with control schemes to try to make something that worked. And I couldn't. I hated the fact that essentially the game's version of a smash attack in Smash Bros. Was bound to a different button. Now, I did do the main single player mode before I refunded it, so that way it would qualify to be here. But Rivals of Aether 2 is just not for me because of that control scheme. And that's the biggest downfall that the game has. Moving on to C tier game. You've got the Patrick Star game. You've got Mario vs. Donkey Kong, the remake for that. You got Nico DeRico and the Magical World. All of them, they're all right. They just all have their low parts of they're just all right. You know, each game is just all right. The puzzles just get boring after a while. This game, you gotta grind after a bit, which sucks. The main game is just all right. And this is a funny idea that they put on paper. It's very bare bones. Little Kitty Big City was fun. I just could have been better, but it was a cool little game for what it was. Nightingale, I was hoping to enjoy a lot more for a survival crafting game, with how it was advertised and how it delivered. Now, granted, a lot has changed since I first played it, so maybe when I play it again, it'll be much more what I hoped it would be. Shim and Animal Well, I was disappointed with both of them. Shim I was more disappointed with than Animal Well. Animal Well, I just don't know why. I just could not vibe with it. I tried many times, started many new save files just to try to play through it. And it's just, I don't know why. I couldn't do it. I couldn't get through it. Shim, on the other hand, I was just more disappointed with because, like, the concept for the game is so cool, but the execution just wasn't fully there. Trash Goblin was good. The gameplay loop was just not boring. It was just very repetitive, and it got boring because of that. Billionaire is, as I said about Peggle last time, odd things to give a roguelike thing to work very well. It was an interesting time, to say the least. And then lastly, Penny's Big Breakaway for me. The first half of this game, I did not like how it controlled. Now, the more I played, the better I got with the controls. But by the time I got to the end of the game, I basically said to myself, I do not want to go back and 100% this. So I kind of just left it. That's what I feel about Penny's Big Breakaway. Cool game, cool concept. If you really get into the movement, it's a lot of fun. But if you're really not great at like heavy movement platformers, you're probably going to struggle with this one a lot. Moving on to the B tier, I'm going to start off with Final Fantasy XIV. Dawntrail specifically is very weak at some parts. I think it's like decently strong at others, but not as strong as like some other expansions. And it's like solid right now. The content was fun. The story could have used some work. Card Shop Simulator. Everybody played this game. This game was great. I even got hooked with it. And I eventually, like, when I reached that point of like, okay, it's like I'm not leveling up as much. There's so much money to make. That's when it got boring, but it's a great time nonetheless. Same with Supermarket Together, which was a free-to-play game that basically took the supermarket sim aspect and let you have as many players as you want. I think it was up to 20. Web Fishing is a solid B tier game. Content Warning, another solid B tier. Both of these great. It never got like the same like reception as Lethal Company, even though this I think is a much funnier time with what can happen and the whole reason you're going to like said location. And then the video, like with the videos at the end that you view as your group, absolutely funny. Web Fishing, just a calm, peaceful fishing game. Good with friends. It's just like middle of the road good, you know? Princess Peach Showtime, I really enjoyed Princess Peach Showtime. They did a really good job with this game. Solid level design, solid length, and it wasn't like a pain in the ass to go 100% the game, which I did. Cat Quest 3, I love Cat Quest. I cannot wait for the fourth one, which might be the last installment of this game series. Again, go play Cat Quest. The first two are free, and I got this one for free with PlayStation Stars. Also, go check out Squirrel with a Gun. It is one of the stupidest action platformers I played this year. Open world action platformer. I don't even know how to describe it. You're a squirrel with a gun. Like, what else needs to be said? It's absolutely hilarious the that you can do in this game. Super Monkey Ball, the new Super Monkey Ball that came out this year. Banana Rumble, great. it's a good direction for new Monkey Ball. That doesn't feel too different from the ones that if you grew up with Monkey Ball 1 and 2, it doesn't feel that much different. The new boost mechanic is really the only big thing, but it's really, really good. They did a good job with it. Quidditch Champions. I played this because it was free on PlayStation Plus. Again, I did platinum it because it was a really easy platinum, if not a bit grindy at the end. It's solid. If you like Rocket League and you want to like something that's a bit more complex, definitely give it a shot. Epic Mickey Rebrushed. Absolutely phenomenal remake of the game where everything was essentially like all the artwork redone, high definition, like redone. Like it looks like an entirely different game compared to the Wii version of the game, which is stunning. The making it a third-person shooter mechanic, because obviously it's not using the Wii controller anymore to aim, is good. It's nice and simple. For the first time in my life, I actually played through the game front to back and then platinumed it. And lastly, in the B tier, Pokemon Pocket TCG. Yeah, it's a gacha game. Yeah, it's a mobile game. But you know what? It's if you like collecting cards, it's definitely worth a shot. And you don't have to put any money into it if you do not want to. Okay, let's do the worst game of the year before we talk about our runner-ups, shall we? The worst game of the year 2024, in my opinion, was absolutely Palworld. Holy shit. This game was just, despite the 10 million active players or whatever it was that it hit, I don't remember. I don't care. This game is garbage. This game is absolute garbage. Not because, oh, you're just mad because you ripped off Pokemon, you know, that boop, 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 boop. No. If I care. Sure, some of the designs look like Pokemon. I could care less at this point. Did they actually rip the designs? I don't know. This game is a very generic and boring survival crafting game at the end of the day. It is a boring ass, cheap looking survival crafting game with low quality animations, low quality models, and just, it's not fun. Like, I played it for 3 hours because I can't refund it on Steam. It's not fun. Even trying to play the game with friends, there were issues with the performance with playing multiplayer. It's not fun. It's not good. Everything about this game just screamed low quality. Not a good game. Palworld is absolutely my worst game of the year. And let's go to my best, not the best game of the year, but the runner-ups for best game, my game of the year. And starting with runner-ups, we're going to start with a little DLC for Final Fantasy XVI. The Rising Tide came out at the start of the year. Yes, this DLC is better than all of this stuff. Now, is that my bias towards Final Fantasy talking? Yes, it absolutely is. Rising Tide DLC has one hell of an epic boss battle with Leviathan. It is fantastic with how cinematic that is. The game, again, Final Fantasy 16 is a phenomenal game in my opinion, and I absolutely think you should go play either on PlayStation 5 or on PC. It's great. It's a good time. But it is just a DLC. It's not the full game. Thank goodness you're here. One of the most British games I have ever played. If not the most British game I have ever played. Absolute top-notch British comedy. You never really know what you're going to find within the world until you get there. And it's definitely a game that's like a definite one and done unless you're going back to just platinum it or like clean up trophies or achievements. But it's definitely a one and done type game, because you don't know what to expect going into it. And that's all I'll say about this. So you can go play this game without any spoilers, because it's just, I don't even know how to describe it other than British. Angerfoot, another solid quality game from Devolver, published by Devolver Digital, is a first-person, high-paced shooter where like you can't take much damage, but the absolute chaos of everything is absolutely great. And your goal is like through the entire story is to just recover this pair of shoes that was stolen from you, and it's absolutely great. Mario Party Jamboree. The Mario Party formula is back and better than ever. I took everything that the Super Mario Party the previous Mario Party that came after Super Mario Party did right, and they just made it into the modern format. The Jackbox Survey Scramble was a game I was not, the Jackbox game I wasn't expecting to be as good as it was. If you're looking for a Jackbox game to play this year, Survey Scramble is the one to go with. This game is only on PC and not on anything else, but this is absolutely the better pack than this. Duck Detective and the Secret Salami. That is all I will say. Go play this game. It's getting a sequel. Like, go play Duck Detective. It is just a really funny detective game, and it's so good. I can't say enough good things about this game. Despite how short it is so ridiculously funny and fun to play. And there's a dedicated clack button, so like you can't go wrong. Tales of Genzera Zao is a solid Metroidvania, if not like a very simple Metroidvania. You won't do much backtracking aside from maybe one or two things that you maybe need the power up in the next location to go back and get. So there's not like a whole lot of backtracking compared to other ones, but it's still a solid game nonetheless. Very simple though, very, very simple with combat and exploration. But the story, if you've lost a parent figure, the story does pretty well, and it might affect you more than others. The Plucky Squire is a fantastic game that combines 2D and 3D elements. While when it came out, people said it was very hand-holdy, and the Switch version had a lot of performance issues. I played this on PlayStation 5, where there were no issues. And yes, while I do agree with the hand-holdiness, they did implement a update for the game to turn that on and off now. If you want to give that game a try now, absolutely do. This game is absolutely full of charm and just a great time. And the last game that falls within the runner-up category is Sonic X Shadow Generations. Now, while the Sonic Generations side doesn't do anything different aside from adding a couple chow to each level, the Shadow Generation side, which is really what it's being compared to, that is the main focus of the game now, is absolutely great for modern Sonic. It is so much fun, very responsive, and it's just a good time. Shadow is great. The story is great. Compared to everything else that is in my top 10, it is definitely it's the shortness of it definitely edged it out from being in my top 10. So this is the final list. Do you agree or disagree with where I put some of these games? If you do, leave a comment down below and let me know if Palworld was your worst game of the year as well, or if I'm too harsh on this one. Well, that's going to do it for part 2 of me ranking all 160 games that I played in 2024. Be sure to tune in for part 3, where we will go over my top 10 video games of 2024. You can follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Tony'sGameLounge and Tony's Game Lounge everywhere else as well. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share the video, and we'll see you guys here in part 3. Stay tuned to figure out what my game of the year for 2024 is.